The government shutdown continuing through the weekend as senators failed to reach a funding agreement yesterday. House Republicans holding a conference call this morning as Speaker Mike Johnson says the lower chamber may not come back until Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is ready to reopen the government.
All right, guys, how long do we have to wait for the government to reopen? It's been 14 days and nothing has been done. What's going on? Today, I'm going to show you guys both sides of the story. What the Republicans are saying, what the Democrats are saying, what are the implications, who gets affected, and I want you guys to decide and be the judge here. Just make sure you put those comments. I want to read you guys. I want to see what you guys think about this. Do you think this is absurd? Do you think this is something that they could solve in 24 hours? Let me know. I want to read you. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe. It really helped the channel out. All right, let's take a look at the Congress live right now. So this is pretty much what the Senate is trying to pass through the Democrats. You know, they need 60 votes. So pretty much what they're trying to do is they're trying to move on with the minibus. So pretty much the Senate GOP leaders are looking to pressure Democrats to make progress on full year spending bill that would fund the Pentagon and a handful of other federal agencies amid the government shutdown. Majority Leader John Thune teed up the House-passed defense appropriation bill Tuesday for an initial procedural vote where it will need 60 votes to advance. That vote is set for this Thursday. So this will be set for tomorrow. What they're trying to do is trying to pass a bill. They call it the CR, the continuing resolution, pretty much to fund all federal agencies and the military as well. Now, let's take a look at the actual CR, the continuation resolution. This is what the Republicans, I'm going to show you both sides. I'm going to show you what the Republicans are requesting and what Democrats are saying and who gets implicated about this. So this is the clean CR. It's called the Continuing Appropriation and Extensions Act 2026. This bill provides continuing FY26 appropriation for federal agencies, provides additional funding for security for federal officials, and extends various expiring programs and authorities. This pretty much what it's trying to do is continue the funding through the FY 2026 until they figure out the mess that they're in. Specifically, the bill provides continuing FY26 appropriations to federal agencies through the earlier of November 21, 2025, or the enactment of the applicable Appropriations Act. It is known as a continuing resolution, the CR, and prevents a government shutdown that would otherwise occur if the FY 2026 appropriation bills have not been enacted when FY 2026 begins in October 1, 2025. So pretty much this started in October 1st, 2025 this year. That's why the government is closed, because they have not come into an agreement and they're still missing votes. So this is pretty much what the Republicans are saying. This is what they included on the CR. I'm pretty sure you heard Mike Johnson saying, or John Thune saying, we send them a clean CR. A clean CR, no Republican addition or non-Democrats addition. It's the same CR they used early this year, but now they are declining to sign. So this is pretty much what they're trying to put in the bill. Several public health, Medicare, and Medicaid authorities and programs. That's very important, and I'll show you guys in a minute why the public health, Medicare, and Medicaid is so important. Various programs and authorities related to veterans, the U.S. Grain Standard Act, the Department of Agriculture Livestock Mandatory Price Reporting Program, several Department of Homeland Security, DHS, authorities for DHS and the Department of Justice to take action to mitigate a credible threat from an unmanned aircraft system, the special assessment on money non-indigent persons or entities convicted or of certain offenses involving sexual abuse or human trafficking, authorities related to the Commodity Future Trading Commission whistleblower program, and the Defense Production Act. This is pretty much what they're trying to get passed through the Senate, and the Republicans are falling short because they need 5 Democrats to sign this continuing resolution and to keep the government open. We already know that 3 or 4 Democrats already signed to keep the government open, but they still missing 4. So now I'm going to show you what the Republicans are saying. So this is Speaker Johnson's list of insane Democrats' demands to end the government shutdown. $24.6 million to climate resilience in Honduras, $13.4 million to civic engagement in Zimbabwe, $3.9 million to LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Balkans, $2.9 million to desert locust reduction in Africa, and $2 million to organize for feminist democratic principles in Africa. Okay, let's hear Mike Johnson here talking about this real quick.
And they would send $500 million to liberal news outlets by refunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It would also restore up to $5 billion of American taxpayer funds for wasteful spending for international projects. Here's a couple of examples. This is in their legislation, their counterproposal on the CR to keep the lights open. This is what they want to do. They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa, and $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa.
All right, there you have it. That's what Mike Johnson is putting out as the Democrats' demands. Okay, now, obviously, I want to see both sides of the story, right? So I went out and tried to find something from the Senate Democrats, and I couldn't find anything about their demands. All I see on the Senate Democrats, it's just about healthcare. The Republicans, they want to kill the healthcare for the American people, and they only talking about healthcare. And I also went on, I've been looking through all this right here. Look, Senator Alex Padilla saying Americans are receiving letters right now showing their health insurance skyrocketing if Republicans remain unwilling to negotiate with the Democrats. I mean, look at this, Senator Jeff Merkley, same thing. Republicans gutted healthcare for 50 million Americans. Republicans are raising healthcare costs for 20 plus million Americans. Now, the question is why they do not mention any of this, because Mike Johnson is reading off that to the press. So I'm pretty sure that's on a written document with their demands. But I also went on Senator Chuck Schumer's X account, and all I see is all he's talking about is the healthcare. You see, taking healthcare away from you. That's pretty much all I see on their social media accounts and all over the internet. I don't see any of these on the Democrat side. I really want to see what's the roadblock here. What's the holdup? What's going on? Because I want to see both sides of the story. If you know anything about what they're asking, leave it in the comments. I want to read you guys. I want to see who's right, who's wrong. I want to see how they can come meet in the middle to open up the government, because there's a lot of implication here. There's a lot of agencies they're closed. We're talking about military paychecks. We're talking about SSI checks. We're talking a lot of people getting hammered about this. Now, let's take a look at the actual implications of a government shutdown. Federal benefits and financial assistance. This is pretty much a Q&A from Sarah Elfreth. This is a congresswoman for Maryland. So, will I continue to receive my Social Security and SSI checks? During a government shutdown, recipients will continue to receive the Social Security and SSI checks, but this can lead to delays when trying to process claims. You're gonna keep getting your check, but if you're trying to process a claim, this might be a delay. What happened to my Medicare and Medicaid benefits? Your Medicare, or Medicaid coverage will not be immediately interrupted. However, a shutdown can cause administrative delays and longer call wait times for certain services. Why? Because the agencies are closed. All those employees are out of the office. What happened to my SNAP or WIC benefits? SNAP and Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infant, and children recipient will not be impacted immediately, but could be affected the longer the shutdown continues. All right, let's take a look at this. It says, will I still have access to temporary assistance for needy families? That's the TANF, including cash. This is the state of Maryland. As far as this, they will not see any type of interruptions. Let's see what the veteran services. During the government shutdown, all VA medical facilities and clinics will remain fully operational. However, VA call centers and hotlines cease to function, and Veterans Benefits Administration public contact service are not available. Once again, all these people are home. They're not working, and they're not getting paid either. Will assistance related to my federal student loans be affected? Key activity of federal student aid will continue for a few weeks, but a prolonged shutdown could disrupt the agency's ability to assist borrowers. Let's take a look at the IRS. It's saying if you're filing your 2024 taxes with a valid extension, you're still required to file by October 16, which is tomorrow, but you might experience significant delays in processing tax refunds. So same thing. Now let's take a look at I want to see the military one. This is very, very important as well. Well, the federal workers as well. So when there is a government shutdown, federal agencies are required to classify their employees as either essential or non-essential. The employees classified as essential continue to work during the shutdown. However, the employees classified as non-essential are put on unpaid furlough. All right, where are my military folks? Let's take a look here. What is the impact on U.S. military personnel? All military personnel will continue their normal duty status without pay. Yes, all military personnel will continue their normal duty status without pay. So there's a lot of implications here when the government is closed, from all federal agency to the military service members. Everybody gets affected. So I would love them to come into an agreement, at least meet in the middle, open up the government and sit down in the table and start negotiating how we can help the American people with this, because this is not a Republican fight or Democrat fight. This is for the American people. They need to do what they need to do because they are the elected officials, and they need to work for the American people. Like I said in the beginning of the video, make sure you put some comments. I want to read you guys. I want to see your opinion. I want to see your point of view of this. Who's right, who's wrong? How can they meet in the middle? And hopefully we can get this resolved quicker than later. Make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It really helped the channel out. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you on the next one. Stay safe.